Bonjour, welcome to your information session on work-focused hands-on learning for the Communications Department. Je m'appelle Julie Marguet, coordinatrice d'éducation expérientielle au campus Glendon. Ravie de vous accueillir aujourd'hui. I'd also like to introduce Professor Allison Harvey, who is our academic lead for the Work Integrated Learning Comms course. So specifically, we have Comms 3800 as well as Comms 4800. And welcome my dear colleague, Alexander Golianin from the Experiential Education Office. Let's jump right in, shall we? So for today, we'll take a look at the agenda. Donc pour l'ordre du jour, nous allons commencer avec l'éducation expérientielle. So what is EE or experiential education? Les témoignages étudiants, because what you say matters. Le cours de placement en milieu de travail, so really kind of the ins and outs of your experiential opportunity. Les procédures de candidature, so how to land that experiential opportunity. Les attentes académiques, how to make it count. And finally, votre équipe de soutien. So who really is behind you to set you up for success? So before we move on to these two courses, we really want to take a look at what experiential education is. Donc, l'éducation expérientielle est l'application de la théorie dans la salle de classe, la communauté, au sens plus traditionnel, le milieu de travail, et même parfois à l'étranger. So simply put, EE is hands-on learning. It's pushing learning beyond the page of the textbook, truly bringing it to life, which is going to allow you as a student to gain relevant and meaningful professional experience. It's going to boost your transferable skills and competencies, such as leadership, collaboration, I'm even going to say communication, and it's also going to help you make invaluable connections with industry experts. It allows you to explore professional pathways to help shape the future that you want and become career ready and get ready to take the next step.
Et donc, passerons au témoignage étudiant. Donc, comme mon collègue Julie a déjà mentionné, nous avons des témoignages provenant de nos étudiants pour démontrer l'impact des cours de stage dans le programme de communication. Nous avons 2 témoignages étudiants pour que vous puissiez envisager le contexte d'un placement au milieu de travail dans le contexte de communication. Voici le premier témoignage provenant de Nathalie. Elle a fait son stage comme une consultante en stratégie analytique à CIBC, donc dans une institution bancaire. Et donc, elle a assisté à la stratégie commerciale. Dans l'institution bancaire. Elle a participé dans la planification et aussi l'articulation des priorités et initiatives stratégiques. À la fin de la journée, elle a appliqué la théorie qu'elle a apprise en classe dans le marché de travail. Par contre, nous avons aussi un témoignage étudiant provenant d'une étudiante ici, Marie. Marie did her placement with an international NGO, so almost like the complete opposite of a bank. And this NGO is Terre des Hommes Romania. And so she was doing a lot of work creating social media content, as well as website content to support their different initiatives, initiatives supporting Romanian teens, initiatives supporting Roma children to reintegrate into school systems. And we show you these testimonials because they really demonstrate the diversity of experiences that exist within the field of communications and that our students are experiencing this diverse range of opportunities in communications. Et donc, voici les cours de placement en milieu de travail. Comme déjà mentionné, nous offrons 2 cours de placement en milieu de travail, COMS 3800 et puis aussi COMS 4800. Les 2 cours sont similaires, mais il y a quelques distinctions à considérer avant de vous inscrire au cours. Commençons par le cours de 3e année. Donc, apprendre en faisant stage en communication, less reading, more doing, Internship 1. Donc, c'est un cours qui comprend un cours de 3 crédits. Il y a 80 heures requises pour le cours, donc 80 heures de travail requises pour terminer le cours. Vous pouvez évidemment faire encore plus d'heures de travail que 80 heures. Vous pouvez suivre le cours durant le semestre d'automne, durant le semestre d'hiver ou durant le semestre d'été. Aussi, ça peut être dans un milieu de travail français, anglais ou bilingue. Et c'est un cours offert aux étudiants en deuxième, troisième et quatrième année. Par rapport, nous offrons aussi le cours de quatrième année, de la carte au territoire, stage en communication 2, From Map to Territory, Internship 2. C'est aussi un cours de 3 crédits, mais au lieu de 80 heures requises, vous avez besoin de compléter 120 heures de travail dans le placement en milieu de travail. Vous pouvez suivre le cours durant le semestre d'automne, d'hiver, d'été. Ça peut être aussi dans un milieu de travail français, anglais ou bilingue. Mais c'est un cours offert uniquement aux étudiants en troisième ou en quatrième année. Donc, le cours de troisième année, c'est offert aussi aux étudiants en deuxième année, mais le cours de quatrième année, c'est uniquement offert aux étudiants en troisième ou quatrième année. Et aussi, soyez créatifs. Pensez aux opportunités où vous mettrez en pratique les concepts appris en classe dans le monde réel. Il y a beaucoup d'institutions, beaucoup d'organismes qui ont besoin de l'aide avec la communication. Et donc, vous pouvez trouver des opportunités dans diverses institutions, dans divers organismes. Et donc, nous sommes là pour vous aider, pour trouver ces opportunités. So what does that application process actually look like? So when you are applying to courses and wanting to land this work placement course, there are a few things to consider. First and foremost, the most important step is to secure your professional work placement. So there are a list of organizations which have hosted Glendon students in the past, but we also encourage students, if they want to find their own opportunity, as long as it meets some of our requirements, they're also welcome to do that. So you can either find your own opportunity through your own networks or other methods, or you can use the list of organizations which have hosted students in the past and reach out to those organizations to see if they have openings. Once you've secured the placement, so that means you've interviewed, you've received an offer letter, you're good to go, you would then connect with your academic lead, who is Professor Harvey, to approve your placement. So we cannot approve a placement until it has been secured. It's great that you might have a good lead, that it's a hypothetical, that we're excited for you, but in terms of the academic approval, you need to have an offer letter in hand and a description of the actual work you would be doing for you to receive approval from Professor Harvey and from the communications department. So it does have to meet the criteria set out by the communications department. Once it has been approved, it's at that point that the ball can start rolling in terms of getting you onboarded to the company and or organization and beginning your work placement. So then at that point, once it's been approved, you connect with the experiential education team, which is myself and Julie. And so we would set up a partnership agreement with that institution. Some partners already exist, so we don't need to do that. We can just pretty much get you started right away. In other cases, they might be new partners. We have to set up those agreements. Once that's been settled, you can then get it enrolled into either COMS 3800 or COMS 4800. From there, any kind of logistical or administrative needs, things like health and safety checklists, that's all set up and tracked through a platform called Experiential. And I can do a quick demonstration of what that might look like for you folks using Experiential. So I'll just pull up the platform. If you Google Experiential, the platform should show up. And I am right now showing the more administrative end, but as a student, what that would look like for you is that you would log in and you would have your dashboard, obviously, and on the left-hand side, one of your drop-down menus will be Glendon College. You would click on Glendon College, and one of the modules is titled Experiential Education. From there, you'd click on Experiential Education, and your course, your work placement course, would fall under your current experiences. So we would enroll you. It won't show up until it's been enrolled. We've set it up on our end, and once it is set up on our end, you're then able to track your progress through this module. There's nothing here because the student is not enrolled, but that's the simple way of explaining the way to access the course. Is you just log into the platform, you go to Experiential Education, and that's where you will find all of your course requirements in terms of those administrative things like health and safety checklists, etc. And then apart from that, your work is to ace your work placement. So to go into the workplace, obviously do the work expected of you. We'll sometimes we'll check in with you, we'll check in with the employer or the organization hosting you. But that's it. Those are the steps to follow in terms of actually securing the work placement. And I'll pass it off to Allison to talk about some of the academic requirements.
Thank you. As Alex mentioned, these are 3 credit courses, Comms 3800 and Comms 4800. So that means that in addition to doing the work placement internship, you also have some course activities to do. But unlike other courses, there are no reading lists, there are no kind of lectures or weekly meetings. There are mostly these reflection tasks that you're asked to do along the way. So at the very beginning of the internship, you're going to do this présentation de stage or internship overview, where you just kind of outline what the internship is and what you're going to be doing, and start to think, how does this connect to the classes I've taken in the comms program? Kind of midway through, you do this journal d'expérience, or the experience log, where you're going to outline some of the tasks that you're doing in the internship, and think about how this connects to the past, and also start to think about what you're going to do next in terms of your professional pathways. You're also credited in this course for doing career development activities. So professional development opportunities are offered at Glendon that help you develop your resume, kind of polish your interview skills, those kinds of things. You get 5% for doing those, and that can be before the internship or during the internship. So if you've already done those things to help you secure the internship, you get credited for doing them. You have the chance, of course, also to update your CV and do a little bit of a portfolio based on the internship midway through the semester. So you can get a little bit of feedback about how you've updated your CV and presented the work that you're doing, because this is really useful for showing to employers in the future as well. You get a final assignment as well, as you can see here, where it's a larger piece that you think through, where you started in terms of the education in comms, how you developed your skills through the internship experience, and then really importantly, what comes next. And all of this is intended to get you to think about connecting your work experience to the educational experience that you've had, and also to identify what needs you have moving forward in terms of your training. And there's a little part where you get a supervisor's assessment. Normally that's like a full 15%, because most of the time, actually all of the time, students ace their internship. So we get really lovely assessments. So it's not an arduous set of course requirements, but it's something that keeps us in contact throughout the semester to kind of reflect on how the internship is playing a role in your broader education.
Amazing. So those are the academic requirements in general for both of the courses. Those might change over time, but for the time being, these are the expectations of you from a course perspective. And that's pretty much everything you need to know in terms of the work placement courses. You have your support team here on this slide. So obviously, as previously mentioned, Professor Allison Harvey is your academic lead. You can contact the communications department to see a list of host organizations which have previously hosted Glendon students for work placement courses. You then have Julie, as well as myself, your experiential education team. If you also want to reach out to us regarding opportunities, we're more than happy to field those. We also have an EE bursary program. So there are funds available to support your experiential education endeavors. So if you're doing it, let's say, an opportunity that might require some extra funds, you might need access to some software, whatever the case may be. There's so many reasons you might need funding. You can always submit an application to the bursary program. You also have your career and skills development team. And so you can see the name there is Shayna. Shayna is our current coordinator of the Career and Skills Development Center. And as Allison mentioned, you can gain course credit for attending their different workshops and or appointments. If you want to improve your resume, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile, your interview skills, your workplace performance, whatever the case may be, attending those workshops is invaluable to your success in securing and being successful in the work placement. There are also job boards available to you. So if you want to reach out to Allison for opportunities, to us for opportunities, but there are also job boards available, GL Connect, Experience York, Indeed, any kind of job board where you can find a communications opportunity. You can also find those, and then you would have to obviously get those approved through the communications department. And then lastly, there are some other resources that you folks should be aware of, things like accessibility and well-being, in case you might need any kind of accommodation during the work placement, York International in terms of staying on top of your study permit, also your network, so your professional and personal networks in terms of finding opportunities. And we even have a resource on our end, the Put Your Skills to Work resource. It's a workbook. It's a student-focused guide to work integrated learning. So you can track your skill development, new skills you're learning, and learning how to articulate those skills. We also have that resource available. So take advantage of your academic supports, your EE team, the Career and Skills Development Center, as well as the other resources available to you to set you up for success. And that's everything. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. We have obviously on this slide for any kind of academic inquiries, feel free to reach out to Professor Harvey, allison.harvey@glendon.yorku.ca. And any other questions related to experiential education, you can funnel those to ee@glendon.yorku.ca.
Can I add something, Alex?
By all means.
Before we go off record, it's not just questions. If you get in touch with me saying, generally speaking, I'm interested in internship, I keep you in mind, because another kind of way that we know about internships is that people approach us. And so sometimes it's really useful for me to know that you're interested in internship, because then I can ping you directly. So even if it's just a thought in your head, please do get in touch and I'll put you on the list.